Welcome to the Sophomore and Junior Future Planning PowerPoint. The Eastridge School Counseling Team wanted to compile pertinent information to help support you and your student as they go through 10th and 11th grade years. This is a quote that we found that was, we thought, really impactful. Don't ask kids what they want to be when they grow up. Ask them what problems they want to solve. This changes the conversation from who do I want to work for to what do I need to learn in order to be able to do that. A lot of times when students are in 10th and 11th grade, they oftentimes don't know exactly what they want to do. So it's always good to start the conversation somewhere, maybe by asking what their interests are and going on from there. Maybe utilizing some of the resources that we have at the school that can kind of help them, guide them along on their journey. What will we be covering today during this PowerPoint? There's going to be quite a few things that we're going to be covering. We're going to be covering graduation requirements, post-graduation options, testing information, and additional information from NCAA. We're going to talk a little bit about Super Saturday that's coming up in January, and we're going to talk about a variety of resources that we have available in the Eastridge High School Counseling Office. Your school counselor is going to be, there's 5 of us, and we're going to be divided up by your student's last name. And we're all listed here. Ms. Pedersen has A through D. Ms. Munoz has E through JOO. Ms. Kimpton has JOP through MOS. Ms. Hutmeyer has MOT through SH, and Ms. Schultz has SI through Z. Your counselor will have your student from grades 9 through 12. Graduation requirements. This information is also available in the Program of Studies booklet, which is available on the Eastridge High School's website. When you're looking at high school credits, you'll note that every year you're going to have to take an English, so you have 12 credits of English, and the credits are all listed on the screen here, and you're going to have 66 credits total to graduate. Now, when you're looking at four-year college expectations, if your student is planning on doing a four-year route, the Eastridge requirements do match pretty closely to those requirements that the colleges look for, with the exception of a couple of things. When it comes to world languages, some of the schools will want your student to have 2 or 3 years of world language. Depending on the school, they may have to increase their math to additional years, science as well, again, depending on what your student is going to be majoring in when they get to that particular university. And so the school will want 1 year of art. When it comes to our high school credits, it's only 2 credits, which means only 2 trimesters worth. So you'll want to make sure that you're looking into the schools that your student is going into, or your student looks into the schools to make sure they're meeting all of their requirements. Next slide, we're going to be talking about postgraduate planning options, timelines, and characteristics. When it comes to the military, it offers many educational opportunities for students in return for their service to our country. You must meet all requirements in the military entrance processing station. One of the requirements is that the student is required to take the ASVAB test. We do offer the ASVAB test here at the Eastridge High School. The testing date is November 7th, 2019. If your student is interested in taking the ASVAB test at Eastridge High School, the sign-up will be in the counseling office, and there will be information coming out about that through announcements. Apprenticeships and workforce. This is an excellent opportunity for students if this is where their interests are at. Students may choose to go directly into the workforce after high school graduation. Some places of employment offer training in certain apprenticeships. An apprenticeship is basically a formal system of employee training which provides on-the-job training with related technical instruction. Oftentimes, apprenticeships are related to a certain school. For example, St. Paul College does offer some apprenticeships. So if your student is interested in more hands-on training, gaining some valuable school skills, your student might want to look into the apprenticeship opportunity. Junior, senior year timeline. If your student is interested in going more into the 2-year technical route, you'll want to still have the student focus on academic rigor. Part of the process, too, of looking at what a student wants to go into is making sure that the school that they're interested in offers the program that they want to study. Once they do that, then the next steps would be maybe looking at some scholarships through Naviance. In the fall of their senior year, that is when the application process begins. What you want to make sure is that the program that your student is interested in doesn't fill up too fast. Some of the programs do, so you want to make sure you're keeping up with those deadlines. Part of the process of going to a 2-year technical school is making sure your students take the AccuPlacer. That can be done at really any 2-year school, for example, Century, Inver Hills, and a student can take it up to every 6 months. One opportunity that 2-year programs do offer is they offer transfer curriculum. So if your student, let's say, isn't ready to go into a 4-year school and they want to take some general courses, they can certainly do that at a 2-year school, and then when they're ready, they can transfer those courses to a 4-year college. If your student is 4-year bound, again, your student will want to focus on that academic rigor, making sure that they're taking courses that challenge them appropriately. They should be involved, whether it's volunteering or with a club or a sport. Part of the process of getting into a 4-year college is taking either the ACT or SAT. Just note, April 7th, all juniors will be taking the ACT at Eastridge High School. That's free. You do not have to sign up your student for the test. That'll be taken care of. You want to make sure your student's scheduling college visits to tour. One opportunity we have here at Eastridge is that students can sign up for college representatives by using Naviance. They can go into Naviance, log in with their student ID and their normal password, and they can see a list of schools that are going to be visiting, and they can click and sign up to meet with the representative and ask questions that they have. They can also begin scholarship searches by using Naviance or other resources. Another process they want to do is narrow their college choices, making sure that the colleges that they are interested in, again, offers the major that they have an interest in. And then when it becomes the fall of their senior year, that is when students should really start submitting their applications. Now, when it comes to 4-year colleges, there are certain things that they look for. One of the things that they look for is when they're looking at a student's transcript is the grades that they had in college preparation courses. For example, how did they do in all their math courses? How did they do in their science courses? The other thing that they look at is ACT or SAT scores. They look at a student's cumulative grade point average, also the rigor of the high school courses that they've taken. As I mentioned earlier in a previous slide, they want students to challenge themselves, but challenge themselves appropriately. So if your student is in an AP course and they're struggling with getting a C or C minus, then maybe you'll want to relook at that rigor and have them go into a regular level course. Sometimes colleges will ask for an essay. So they'll look at the essay along with recommendations. Not all colleges will ask for essays or recommendations, but that's one of the pieces that they look at. They look at if your student is involved in different activities, and also they look at employability skills, meaning can your student self-advocate for themselves? Can they come in and ask questions? Can they collaborate? How is their time management skills? And their resiliency is another thing that they look at as well. Now, when your student is looking at or starting their college search, one resource we have here is Naviance Supermatch. That is an excellent resource for students because it helps them narrow down their searches, their criteria that they're looking for. Because it's important for your student to find the best fit possible. One of the things that Naviance can help with is looking at location and size. So how far does your student want to go to school? You know, how large of a university does your student want to go to? The type of school, whether it's public or private. Degrees offered is another important factor that your student may want to consider when looking at a school. Cost and financial aid. You know, your student, you want them to be realistic when looking at that piece, because if you don't have that conversation with your student about the cost of financial aid, they may think, hey, I'm going to go to Yale, where you're thinking, you know what, University of Minnesota is probably what I'm thinking for you. Campus activities is another piece that your student will want to consider as well, because your student's going to be there for 4 years. They want to get involved and make sure it's a place that they want to stay. And then also support services. If there's tutoring services, what have you, counseling services, that's another thing your student may want to look at.
Okay, so now we'll move on into the testing information. There's multiple tests that your student will be taking here at Eastridge or have the option to take while they're here in high school. So one of the first tests that they will take in 10th grade is the pre-ACT. So the pre-ACT is really preparing that student to do their best when they take the ACT. It tests the same subject areas as ACT, which are English, math, science, and reading. It also helps the student choose courses to prepare for their college and career choices, and it really provides a sense of how college ready they are. So when the students take this in the fall, during their 10th grade year, then in December, the 10th grade students receive their pre-ACT interpretation guide along with their scores. And we will have some of those interpretation guides that can be picked up during conferences in the fall on October 10th and October 15th by the school counseling office. On this guide, it lists a little nice comparison chart so the student can see where they are and where they want to be, and then also lists some of the really helpful next steps for the student. The next test is the PSAT. The PSAT is not a required test for Eastridge students. Students opt in to take the PSAT, so they sign up for it. It's voluntary, but it's the preliminary practice SAT test. And so one of the big reasons why students take the PSAT is because they want to be considered for the National Merit Competition for juniors. And so the highly competitive scores are considered for this competition, and they can get scholarships out of this competition. This PSAT test is available to 10th and 11th grade students in October, and there is more information on the College Board website. Next, as we move into the ACT, this is one of the most common tests that students will be taking. This is a 4-year college university admissions test, and the scores range from 1 to 36. So the ACT, as I mentioned in the pre-ACT slide, it measures English, math, reading, and science. And then the difference with the ACT, it has an optional writing portion. We listed the remaining 2019-2020 ACT dates here on the PowerPoint for you to reference. And then just note that on April 7th is when all juniors will be taking the ACT for free here at Eastridge, and there is no need to register for that. Students can take the ACT as many times as they would like, and not every college or university requires that writing option. So on the ACT website, it does list out what schools do require that writing option or not. And then also to note on that writing option, the April 7th test at Eastridge does include the writing. And then for students to register for any of the national test dates, they just go to the www.actstudent.org. SAT is a test that some students opt in to take as well, so this is a voluntary test. This also can be used as a 4-year college university admissions test. This measures knowledge and skills in critical reading, math, and writing skills. We listed the remaining dates for 2019-2020 here on this slide as well. And they're also have subject test dates. So if your student wants to test in a certain subject, they can see the College Board website for more details on that. The SAT scores are very different from ACT. The score is based out of 1600 with 800 for math and 800 for the evidence-based reading and writing. And we also have the link here in the PowerPoint to register and find out more information about the SAT. So to prepare for both the ACT and SAT, because these are the two most common college admissions tests, there's multiple different ways that your student can prepare for that. So they can take community education classes that we have here in District 833, and then also Kaplan test prep Sylvan Learning Center, and College Tutors and Nannies are also separate services that are very helpful to our students. Princeton Review also has a really wonderful test prep. Huntington Learning Center, and then a free resource that we have for our students is through MCIS, which stands for Minnesota Career Information System. They have free practice tests on there. And then we also have more options on the Eastridge High School Counseling website. And also just to note that the ACT website itself has some wonderful test prep and practice questions for students on there as well. So as we move into the next two tests, the AccuPlacer and ASVAB. So the AccuPlacer is really a placement test given to students pursuing that 2-year or technical college option. The AccuPlacer measures writing, English, and math, and it really is assessing where the student's ability is at so they can place that student in the correct courses when they enroll at that 2-year technical school. And in order to find out more information about that, students can contact the individual colleges as the individual colleges give this test to the students. And then the ASVAB, as talked about in the military slide, that stands for the Armed Forces Vocational Aptitude Battery. And that is given at Eastridge High School on November 7th. And it also can be taken at a local recruiting office. So if any student is interested in the military, it's required for them to take this test. Otherwise, some students, even if they're not interested in the military, can take this test because it has really helpful career planning information on it as well.
Okay, so the next couple slides we're going to be talking about NCAA, Naviance, MCIS, College Possible, Super Saturday. We're going to go through some resources and also a slide about how can I best help my student. NCAA, you may have heard about NCAA if your student is going to be playing a sport in college. This is important for your student to get registered during their sophomore year. The site is that you want to go to www.eligibilitycenter.org. There are many resources that are available and downloads are free. You'll want to also let the school counselor know that your student is going to be registering for the Eligibility Center, because your school counselor can kind of help your student walk through the process as well. It's an important resource, is a guide for the college-bound student and athlete. Quick reference guide is available at www.twopoints3.org. Naviance is another great resource that we have available for you and your student. Naviance offers students what's called Supermatch College Search. It helps your student narrow down college choices. You can complete a variety of interest inventories or inventories in general. There's a personality inventory, learning styles. Your student can learn about their strengths and career interests. There's electronic portfolio, resume building on there as well. A student can track the college visits, their deadlines. They can do scholarship searches, and another excellent piece of information available in Naviance is called Road Trip Nations videos. It's an opportunity for your student, if there's a career that they have an interest in, they can click on it, and a person that is actually in the career will talk about how they got to where they were at. There's a mini session during the Super Saturday event on January 25th, 2020 that will go through Naviance in a little bit more detail. MCIS, which stands for Minnesota Career Information System, is another resource for you and your student to use. It's web-based, so you can use this at home as well. It's located on the counseling website at Eastridge High School. The username and password for this site is available in the counseling office. It includes college searches, practice tests that you can do on their ACT, SAT, and PSAT. They have financial aid information. You can research colleges, research programs of studies, and a variety of different career information is available on this site.
Okay, so for the second year in a row, Eastridge High School is partnering with College Possible. College Possible is an organization that really helps high school students get into college and all the steps, trying to get into college, as well as, retaining and being successful in college. So this includes ACT prep, applying to college, paying for college, and like I said, retaining and succeeding in that higher education. So upon joining, students receive a coach who mentors them on ACT prep, choosing a college, drafting college applications, and much more, all using tech-based resources. So they're required to connect with their coach at least once a month via either a video chat or texting or a phone call. And that coach is available to them 24/7. So if they have a question on the weekend or even in the summer, they can contact their coach. So College Possible is looking for certain students who are currently juniors. They are requiring a GPA of around 2.5 or higher, and then income does play a part in order to be a part of this program. And so the website does provide more detail for the income. And then students should be interested in attending a 4-year college. So the application period is open right now, and so students can start applying right now until October 25th is the last possible deadline. They do have an early application deadline on October 11th, with October 25th being the last day that they will accept applications. So the website is www.joincollegepossible.org, and please note that each application is very, very simple. It's about maybe 10 minutes maximum for the student to fill out the application. And then as far as the parent application goes, there is a parent portion that also will take under 10 minutes to fill out. Super Saturday, we had mentioned this in some of the earlier slides. So Super Saturday is an event that the Eastridge High School counselors put together on Saturday, January 25th from 9 a.m. to 11:30. We invite a guest speaker there. So there will be a guest speaker, and we have mini sessions on Naviance. We have a college panel. And then PSEO, a mini session as well. And then during that time, we have a mini college fair with about 6 to 10 colleges attending. So this is a great way, to get more information, start talking with some of those schools, finding out more information on Naviance, or if PSEO is of interest to your student, to find out the whole PSEO process and what steps that they need to do in order to become a PSEO student. So as far as resources go, we have lots of resources here at school. And so some of our school support services that we have for our students is your school counselor. And so there's 5 school counselors, and it's by last name, as we mentioned earlier in the PowerPoint. We work in 3 main areas. We help students with academics, emotional and social concerns, and then the college and career planning piece as well. So we definitely want to help all of our students and best support our students as much as we can. So it's really helpful for our students to, tell us what's going on. If we don't know what's going on, it's hard for us to help. So communication is really key. We have a school social worker, and we have 3 assistant principals here at Eastridge, also divided by whatever your student's last name is. We also have a chemical health specialist, and we have culture liaisons. For the 2nd year in a row, we are partnering with Family Innovations, which means that we have a licensed mental health therapist here at Eastridge High School, and they see students during the school day. And so during the school day, students, they don't have to worry about providing transportation or scheduling those outside appointments. It's all confidential, and it does run through insurance. So if this is an interest for you or your student or to take a part of, just let your school counselor know. If your student's struggling academically, we do have tutors through the National Honor Society, and so you would just go to the National Honor Society website to sign up for that. And then Schoology is another great resource. So all of your students' classes will be on Schoology. So if you have a question on when things are due, or if their student is missing any assignments, everything would be on Schoology, all their course-related information. We also have another resource on our school counseling webpage called School Shelf. And this has a lot of different resources and brochures that are helpful for students and families as resources. So please utilize that. And then just lastly, we wanted to touch on just self-care. Making sure that your child is getting enough sleep is very, very important. And, stress management, they know kind of that have that balance. And then the self-advocacy, where it's really important for, if your child is struggling with something, please have them come talk to us so we can support them so they can have a great experience here at Eastridge and be supported in all areas.
There are books available to check out in the counseling office. We have a variety of test prep booklets. We have the ACT prep booklet and along with an Accuplacer booklet as well. The Accuplacer, again, will help students study if they're planning on going to more of a 2-year technical route. We have a variety of college resources. We have college essay essentials, campus visits and college interviews, how to navigate that. We have U.S. News and World Reports, find the best colleges for you. Going to college or apprenticeship, it kind of walks a student or a parent through that process. Freshman Survival Guide, this is talking about being a freshman in college and how to survive that first year. Mistakes you can't afford to make in college. And another one, The Naked Roommate, 107 other issues you might run into when you get to college. This is for your student to kind of just read and get acquainted with, to hopefully have their first year in college go well for them. Other resources we have is What Color is Your Parachute for Teens, Adulting 101. Another book is Where You Go Is Not Who You'll Be. It's an antidote to the college admissions mania. We also have some parent resources too available to check out. One is At What Cost? Defending Adolescent Development in Fiercely Competitive Schools. How to Raise an Adult, Break Free of the Overparenting Trap and Prepare Your Kid for Success. And Under Pressure, Confronting the Epidemic of Stress and Anxiety in Girls. Again, all of this are resources that you can check out in the counseling office. During conference time, October 10th and 15th, you can also take a look at those resources if you're interested in getting more information about what they are. How can I best help my student? A lot of times we get this question asked to us by parents. The biggest thing is, there's a couple of things to kind of look at. You want to clarify parameters for college searches with your student. For example, what's the cost factor involved? And a lot of times it's just sitting down and talking to your student about these factors as far as what do they think they want as far as the size of the school and starting that conversation with them. Understanding college search and selection process. Big part we encourage students and parents to do is to let the student do the work. You're not the one going to college, your student is. So it's important for you to have your student go through the process of applying. You can certainly guide them along the process, but they really should be the ones doing the work. They're the ones that should set up the college visits, make contacts with college representatives, complete the forms, college forms, or even write the essays. Again, I want to stress this is the student should be doing the work on this. You can always guide them along. Understand basic timeline for the application process. This is important to make sure that your student is having the application sent on a timely fashion. Know your resources. As mentioned earlier, we have a variety of resources available to your student at Eastridge. There's school counselors, admissions reps. There's just a ton for your student to have access to, and even you as a parent. College search tools to help with the search process. We have Naviance, Supermatch, thecollegeboard.org. Once you go into these sites, there's a variety of information that you can find. Consider colleges with reciprocity. Reciprocity means that basically you have a reduced tuition if you're an out-of-state student. There's a Midwest exchange too for some states such as Kansas or Iowa, where you get a certain discount if you are applying to Midwest schools if you're out of state. I want to thank you for your time. This PowerPoint was important for us to put together for you. If you have questions after looking at this slideshow and listening to it, the Eastridge High School counselors will be available during conferences to answer questions and again to look at some resources we have in our office available to you and your student. We're going to be available outside the counseling office October 10th from 3:45 to 7 p.m. And again, October 15th from 3:45 to 7 p.m. will be available for questions. If you can't make it during conference night and you still have some questions or you have questions, just feel free to, you can make an appointment to see your student's counselor, or you can email your student's counselor with questions that you have. Thank you so much for your time.